Hey there, you're here because you don't settle for average, do you? You're not like everyone else. You're someone who dares to look deeper, who values the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Relationships are supposed to lift us up, to make us feel seen and understood. But what if I told you there's a silent, powerful threat lurking in your life right now? Something that could be holding you back, shaping your actions, even controlling your thoughts. This isn't just about manipulation or persuasion, it's something much deeper. This is mind control. And it's not the stuff of movies. It's real, it's subtle, and it could be happening to you as we speak. There are thousands of videos and articles out there on this topic, but I've filtered through all that noise to bring you the absolute best 11 signs to look out for. These insights aren't for just anyone. They're for people like you, people ready to challenge the status quo and uncover the truth. So if you're ready to break free, let's dive in and reclaim your mind together. Number 1, constantly questioning your reality. Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely unsure of what just happened? Perhaps you were confident that a certain event took place, but after discussing it with someone, you're left wondering if you imagined it. This is the subtle yet damaging technique of gaslighting, a tactic controllers use to manipulate your perception of reality. Through repeated denial and distortion, they make you question what you know to be true. For instance, let's say you remember a specific comment they made that hurt your feelings. When you bring it up, they respond, "I never said that," or "You're just too sensitive." Over time, these phrases begin to chip away at your confidence in your own memory and emotions. Gradually, you start doubting yourself, wondering if you're truly remembering things accurately. You begin to question your own mind and perception, which gives them immense power. This tactic is particularly damaging because it undermines your basic sense of reality, making it easier for the manipulator to take control. The more you doubt yourself, the more you become dependent on them to define what is real or true. Eventually, they gain the power to influence your beliefs and decisions as you begin to prioritize their version of events over your own. Number 2, using guilt as a weapon. Mistakes are a part of life, but in a controlling relationship, every mistake you make is amplified and used against you. A manipulator will often bring up your past errors to create a sense of guilt that's hard to shake. For example, suppose you once forgot to do something they asked, like calling them after work. They might hold this against you, reminding you constantly of how unreliable or selfish you are, even months or years later. Each time you try to assert your independence or express a boundary, they'll bring up this past mistake as proof that you owe them. This tactic works because guilt is a powerful emotion. It creates a sense of indebtedness. You begin to feel like you owe them something, and in trying to make it up to them, you end up doing what they want. Over time, you may even feel that their happiness and approval are your responsibility, keeping you in a constant cycle of self-sacrifice and submission. This is not love or genuine partnership. It's a strategic way to control you by making you feel forever indebted to them. Number 3, isolation from friends and family. A controlling person often seeks to become the sole source of emotional support and influence in your life. To do this, they'll subtly or overtly criticize your relationships with others, attempting to create rifts between you and the people who care about you. For example, they might say, "Your friends don't really understand you like I do," or "Your family is always interfering. They don't actually want what's best for you." Over time, these comments build up, and you might start doubting the intentions of your loved ones. The end goal here is isolation. When you're cut off from friends and family, it's harder to get an outside perspective on your relationship, which makes it easier for them to control you without interference. Isolation also makes you more dependent on the controller for emotional validation, as you feel that they're the only person who truly gets you. This can be an extremely effective tactic, as it often leaves you feeling alone and trapped, unable to reach out to others for support or advice. Number 4, creating a dependency cycle. A common tactic of mind controllers is to create a roller coaster of emotions that leaves you hooked. This tactic involves an unpredictable pattern of giving and withholding affection, approval, and validation. Imagine they're incredibly kind and loving one day, making you feel like you're the most important person in their world. But the next day, they pull away or criticize you, leaving you feeling insecure and desperate to get back to the previous high of their affection. This cycle is often referred to as intermittent reinforcement. Intermittent reinforcement is powerful because it's unpredictable. Your brain gets addicted to the unpredictable reward of their approval, similar to a gambling addiction. Each time they withhold affection, you might find yourself working harder to earn their approval, ignoring your own needs and wants in the process. This cycle creates a dependency where you rely on them to feel validated, making it easier for them to control your actions. Eventually, you're so focused on gaining their approval that you start losing sight of your own values, needs, and self-worth. Number 5, excessive criticism, disguised as helping you improve. Constructive criticism is healthy in any relationship, but when criticism becomes excessive or harsh, it can be a form of control. A controlling person might say things like, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm only telling you this because I care about you," as they point out what they see as flaws. For example, they may comment on your appearance, saying things like, "You'd look better if you lost some weight," or criticize your habits, suggesting that you're lazy or not ambitious enough. Under the guise of helping you improve, this relentless criticism chips away at your self-esteem. You may begin to feel like you're never good enough, no matter how hard you try to meet their standards. When someone consistently points out your flaws, you start internalizing those beliefs, seeing yourself as inadequate or flawed. This makes it easier for them to take control, as you're more likely to look to them for approval and guidance, believing they know what's best for you. Rather than building you up, this tactic is designed to keep you in a constant state of self-doubt, reliant on their validation. Number 6, making you feel inferior through comparisons. Being compared to others can sting, especially when it comes from someone you care about. A controlling partner might say, "Why can't you be more like my friend's partner?" Or "Your sibling would never do that." Initially, these comments may seem harmless, but they build a sense of inferiority over time. This tactic aims to make you feel as though you'll never measure up, no matter how hard you try, leaving you desperate for their approval. For example, if your partner constantly compares you to someone they see as more successful or attractive, you may start believing that no matter how much you improve, you'll never be good enough. This dynamic cultivates gratitude for any small acceptance or validation they offer, even if they mistreat you. Ultimately, the power of comparisons lies in making you feel lucky to be with them, keeping you tethered to the relationship despite the negative treatment. Number 7, the "you owe me" mentality. A manipulative person may frequently remind you of every favor or kind act they've done for you, regardless of whether you ever asked for it. They'll say things like, "After all I've done for you, this is how you repay me," or "I gave up so much for you and you're just going to throw it all away." This approach instills a sense of indebtedness in you, making it hard to establish boundaries or consider leaving the relationship. For instance, they might bring up that they paid for an expensive vacation or helped you through a tough time, even if you've expressed gratitude multiple times. This constant reminder of your perceived debt keeps you feeling obligated to repay them in some way, emotionally trapping you and making you feel bound to them, regardless of how damaging the relationship becomes. Number 8, withholding affection and attention. Affection and attention are essential in any relationship, but in a controlling dynamic, these become tools for reward and punishment. Your partner may shower you with love and attention when you comply with their wishes, making you feel on top of the world. However, the moment you assert your own needs or disagree, they withdraw their affection entirely, leaving you confused and anxious. For example, if you express an opinion they dislike, they might respond by giving you the silent treatment, refusing to acknowledge you until you apologize or change your stance. Over time, you learn to behave to maintain their affection, conditioning yourself to prioritize their needs over your own. This mind control can be devastating, leading you to feel as though you must earn love, pushing you to comply with their demands to avoid losing their attention. Number 9, shaming your emotions and feelings. Your emotions are a natural and valid part of who you are, yet a controlling partner may dismiss or shame them, labeling you as dramatic or too sensitive. This tactic undermines your confidence in expressing yourself and leads you to question whether your feelings are justified. Eventually, you may suppress your emotions out of fear of judgment. Imagine sharing your sadness or frustration only to be met with, "You're always so emotional," or "You're blowing things out of proportion." Such comments can make you feel wrong for experiencing your feelings. Over time, this shaming causes you to silence yourself, granting them more control. By invalidating your emotions, they can avoid accountability for their actions, leaving them with the upper hand. Number 10. Using financial control as leverage. Financial dependence can serve as a powerful control mechanism in relationships. If your partner restricts your access to money or fosters a sense of dependence, asserting your independence becomes incredibly challenging. This could manifest in various ways. They might insist on handling all finances, limit your spending, or even discourage you from working or pursuing your career. The aim is to create a situation where you feel financially trapped, making it difficult to leave. For example, if you contemplate ending the relationship but realize you lack the means to support yourself, you're more likely to stay. They may also remind you of their role as your provider, subtly implying that you owe them loyalty in return. Financial control isn't just about money, it's about keeping you tied to them, enhancing their leverage over your choices, and diminishing your ability to act independently. Number 11. Subtle threats and manipulation threats don't always manifest as overt declarations. In a controlling relationship, your partner might use subtle hints to instill fear or guilt without making explicit threats. For instance, they may say, "I don't know what I'd do if you left me," or "I'd be so lost without you." While these statements may appear to express love or dependency, they can actually serve as manipulative tactics, making you feel responsible for their emotional well-being. Hearing such statements may leave you feeling guilty or anxious about leaving, as if their happiness and stability hinge entirely on you. This tactic is powerful because it doesn't directly threaten you, yet still holds you accountable for their emotional state. Over time, you may find yourself feeling trapped, remaining in the relationship not out of love, but out of a sense of obligation, fearing their emotional collapse if you leave. This manipulation preys on your empathy, using it as a tool to maintain control. If any of these points resonated with you, recognize that it's not your fault. Mind control in relationships is a hidden weapon, but now you can see it for what it is. Remember, you're not average. You value your worth and dare to stand up for your own mind and heart. Don't let anyone convince you that you're too much or too emotional. You deserve to be seen, heard, and loved unconditionally. If you're ready to reclaim your mind, let's continue this journey together. Hit that subscribe button and join me. Together, we're unstoppable. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who might need it too. You're special to me, and I'm here to help you uncover the most empowered version of yourself.